When do you think supplements really took a jump? Is it in line with social media, or was it before that?
I think it was just before. But then I was really like deep into that kind of stuff when I just kind of got into the industry kind of 10 or 12 years ago. So that would have been like 2010,
Hmm.
2011, maybe. I feel like things like the bulk suppliers really took off in my protein. Back in the UK, you had like Protein Works as well. I had a few of these kind of like bulk suppliers. And then, I mean, you opened even now, but back then especially, you opened any Men's Health, any Muscle and Fitness, it was just like article, supplement advert, article, supplement advert. So
Yeah,
I
sure.
feel like, at least from my recollection, it's like around 2010, 2012, they really took off. And I think that was helped by the kind of evidence base with it both in terms of the science anyway, and in terms of evidence base within the fitness industry was more or less nothing. So they kind of had
Hmm.
free reign to make a lot of claims
Yes,
and
yeah.
make a few bucks.
Yeah, and we both know of certain brands and certain people that have made a lot of money off supplements in the last few years. I mean, most people don't really understand unless they've watched things like Bigger, Stronger, Faster, which if you've not watched it, anybody listening or watching this, I recommend you go and find whatever forum it's on these days. But Chris Bell, the guy who made that, I'm sure you've seen it. That little expose he does over about 10 minutes. It's like when supplements were becoming a thing initially, they were regulated because you couldn't claim, as with all kinds of preventative fraud, you can't claim something does something that it doesn't. And then certain companies had a certain friend in the government in the US who just happened to deregulate any form of supplements. All they have to put on the packaging is this is not certified by the FDA. So you can claim anything you want. And until it becomes such a big lawsuit the government has to investigate, it won't be investigated. And that's been the attitude
Exactly right.
globally.
Yeah, it's quite when that's another thing I don't think the general population and general fitness consumers realize is that the supplement industry isn't regulated like the food industry,
Mm,
which is quite bizarre when you think about it. They can literally you'll read any supplement tab and it'll say may help this, may help that, which is basically their way of dancing around the legalities of what things might not do.
sure.
And yeah, then they as far as what they put in there,
Mm-hmm.
they have more or less free reign to do whatever they like. And you've there's the biggest one, at least from our generation, would have been like the Jack 3D pre-workout. I don't know if you
Sure.
remember that.
Yeah.
It, it had basically some kind of derivative of a methamphetamine. So like it worked wonders as a pre-workout. But yeah, I think it once people got hold of that, I think there's a few cases of people like taking way too much and
Mm.
having heart attacks, and I think someone died as well. Then you start realizing like, oh Jesus, it can go a bit deep if you go
Yeah.
for
Yeah. I mean,
unscrupulous.
I've heard horror stories. I can't remember if it was Jack 3D or something else similar, but around about the same kind of time, there was another form of pre-workout that because there was a load of cases of people getting, let's say, because it was mixed with essentially a derivative of Class A drugs. Um, the European governments basically forced the manufacturer to pull it off the shelves. They said, "Yeah, this is dangerous, and we're telling you that now. This is dangerous." So the company pulled it down, put it off the shelves, stopped producing it. But the interview with the company owner very shortly afterwards said, "I have never been more inundated for orders because
Isn't that
everybody
funny?
who were a customer or wanted to be a customer, when they went, oh, but they're going to ban it because there's some horrifically powerful shit in it. I want it."
I do remember that as well. I can't remember the brand either, but yeah, that was also a shock. Is like, oh wow, that's why it works so well. Well, I want to before it gets discontinued, I want
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
pre-banned
It's got speed in it.
stock.
You know, you're literally buzzing off your face like you're going to a rave in the
Yeah,
90s, and
it
that's
is.
why you're losing body fat.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is. It's mad.
I did hear I can't remember if it was a documentary now or a radio interview some years ago. There's he probably doesn't continue his business anymore. COVID probably killed it. But there was a guy in the UK whose business was entirely like like poison control in America. You have that phone number you can just call. Oh, my kids accidentally drank this. Whatever. What's the first advice for in the hospital? He did a similar thing. It was all only to do with bodybuilding drugs because he'd seen it and done it and taken it, or he knew someone that had. So he was like, right, typically lads, call me up or email me, ask me your questions. I'll give you a no bullshit answer. I won't sell it, but I'll tell you what not to do, what not to mix, everything else. And he was saying, in this, I think I watched it on YouTube, if I remember right. He was saying that sometime in the past, he'd been given this bottle of stuff to take in the gym as like a demo trial. Didn't know what was in it. He was just told, this is great for stripping fat off you for a competition, but caveat, don't ever drink more per day than one capful. And of course, humans being humans and men being men, if this much does 10%, if I double it, you know, so he started doing this, and he was saying that I've never seen results like it. My body fat dropped so quickly. I felt awesome. And then I started to have some weird health issues. And then I started to have bleeding gums. And then a couple of teeth fell out. And he went back to the guy who gave it to him. It turned out he had industrial strength, undiluted LSD. Oof. He was drinking the stuff straight out of the lab, basically.
Yeah.
But he got to a point where he was drinking it in half a cup, like that.
Yeah, that tells you all you need to know about, like, I mean, that's obviously the performance enhancing side of things, but the supplement industry in general is like, you can make claims like that, and I think people are so keen to get the quickest result with the minimal effort that they'll just be like, all right, I'd say no more. So it's definitely, there's an interesting side of, I think that's where all the marketing really stems from, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you touched on it a minute ago, like you said about the magazines. I mean, for most people that, again, buy whatever magazine, whether you're a man or a woman, sport or fitness related, they're generally vehicles for advertising. I used to write for a couple. In this case, of all they're trying to do is get enough advertising to fund the magazine, and sales are profit. That's it. That's how it works. And that's why, like you said, you see like every second page is an advert for this supplement, because the companies pay to get their products in the magazines because it will get the biggest eyes. You know, obviously pre-social media. Nowadays, they'll throw money at the influencers who will get far more eyeballs on their products.
Hi, thanks for watching this clip. If you enjoyed this content, click here to watch the full unedited version of this episode.